welcome to another video. Today we're gonna talk about all my recent reads. This year I'm doing it a bit different and I thought it would be helpful to split the bookish videos as well as the knitting and crochet videos so you can easily pick which one you would like to see. So this year I'm trying to do a monthly wrap up again where I talk about all my recent reads and what they're about and if I enjoyed them. Today we mostly have Alice in Wonderland Retellings because this is kind of my wrap up for Down the Rabbit Hole-athon as well as some festive reads. Today we have 9 books to talk about. 4 of them are audiobooks, so let's not forget about those. I'm just gonna grab them from the stack how I have them, not in the order I've read them. Just so you know. First up is Alice with a Y by Anna James. This is an Alice in Wonderland retelling and this is Alice written with a Y. That is the granddaughter of the original Alice who falls into Wonderland and has to help out there. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Not the best Alice in Wonderland retelling I've read, but a very good one. In this book, you do see very typical scenes from the original book, like the oysters and the walrus. But they also added new characters. And the new character is a fox, and it's a sailor. And the fox is helping Alice out a lot. And there's a whole message about grief in this book that I did not expect, but really enjoyed, could really appreciate it. I think it's really well done. And in this form of Wonderland, we have a King of the Sun and a Queen of the Moon. And they're fighting. And that's what's causing ruckus in Wonderland this time around. So yeah, a mix of new things added, but also some of the old characters like the Duchess and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. But my favorite characters were there only a sweet second. Like the Mad Hatter and the Cheshire, they're only there once in a very short scene and that's it. So if you really, really would like the original characters doing new things, you're not really getting that. But the new character and the new message is really well done. Then I have The Biggest Christmas Secret Ever by Lapinski. I gave this 4 stars as well. I really enjoyed this. This is the sequel to Stepfather Christmas. So I can't discuss a whole lot. But it is very Christmassy, very magical. And in this there is a baby with Christmas magic. And they are getting in a lot of trouble because of it. So it is quite funny. They're a living gingerbread man, which I always adore. But definitely a festive read. I would read this in December and not any time else. But next December, this is a good one to read if you haven't already. But read the first one first. Another Alice in Wonderland retelling is The Looking Glass Illusions by Sarah Ella. This is book 2 in the Curious Realities. I think it is a duology. And you definitely need to read the first book before you read this one. So the first book, we follow Alice, and she is entered in the Wonderland trials for Team Hearts. And in the first book you see the first 3 trials, and then in the last book you see the 4th trial and then you finally get into the lore of how these trials are made, how they work, why they're invented, what their purpose is, stuff like that. You do see a tiny bit of Wonderland in this. In the first book, you don't see anything from Wonderland, just the trials. The trials are done really well. There is a lot of political intrigue. Normally, I'm not intrigued by it, but in this book, I am. So I've really enjoyed this one. But 2 weeks later, I already didn't remember the ending, so I only gave it 3 stars because it is not a book that stuck a lot to me, but it was very enjoyable while I read it. Then we have The Ghost Locket by Allison Rushby. Allison Rushby is becoming one of my favorite middle grade authors. And that is quite unexpected. I've read the Turnkey to Highgate Cemetery from this author. That was about a war. I don't like war books, but I enjoyed that one very, very much. And this one is about a haunted house. Or it was a house. It is now a museum and it's haunted. That is kind of how you... That is the only way I can explain it properly. It is a bit different than that, but... And Lolly, returns to that house that haunts her to help out her family. There is also a bit of grief in this book, which was very well handled. Really nicely done. I enjoyed this a lot. There's a mystery by a ghost. She needs to help a ghost. And then there's this whole thing going on with her family. It is very intriguing and I gave it 5 stars. So yeah, I definitely need to read anything Allison Rushby writes now, because this is a book I am supposed to love and I did. But I also love books by her that I am supposed to not fight with, but I did fight with. So very curious about more works of this author now. And then the last physical book I have on the stacks is Witchlight by Dominique Valente. This is the sequel to Witch Park. This is my favorite middle grade of the year. If you haven't seen my favorite books of the year video, I would highly recommend it. I will make sure that is the next one that you get recommended after this, if that makes sense. This one, middle grade book of the year, it is fabulous. You do need to read the Witch Park first. I also gave that 5 stars. This one got 5 stars. I highly, highly recommend reading this. This is about Eglantine, and Eglantine had to get into her own magic to save her magical house. She also has a wyvern butler. There are dragons in this book. There is a bookshop where you get books on receipt. There is a lot of drinking of hot chocolate involved, so definitely read this book with a hot chocolate. Preferably with your claws in a tin of biscuits. How the wyvern would like it. The characters in this book are adorable. Their bond is so sweet and wholesome. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I like the setting. I like the characters. I like the plot. The plot I can't tell you anything about because it started in the first book, so I don't want to spoil that for you. But there is a lot of intrigue, there are mysteries, there is complotting going on, stuff like that. So it is very good. If you want a magical middle grade with good characters and a lovely setting, this is it. Let's go through the audiobooks that I've read in December. Audiobooks are definitely why I can read as much as I do, and now that I've started reading audiobooks again, I read way more. So I'm very, very pleased with that. Alice Falls Again by DJ Sturman is one of the audiobooks I've tried. This is an Alice in Wonderland retelling. And it's set after Alice in Wonderland as well as Alice Through the Looking Glass. So she also talks about that this is her 3rd time falling down. So this is about the original Alice. However, this Alice, to me, is very different than the original. So I don't think that comes across quite as well as it could have been. I think it's a bold choice to do that. Since, it is hard to grasp this exact same character, I feel like. This book was a very, very weird reading experience for me. I kept waiting for something to happen, could not explain to you what I was waiting for. Also, while a lot of stuff was already happening, it was just not the ones I wanted from the book or the ones that I was the most interested in. So that was weird to experience. because a lot was happening in the book, but I also felt like I didn't really get the Wonderland vibes already. This Wonderland is very different than the original, and then that being the original Alice, I think that might have thrown me off a bit. I gave it 3 stars. It was very enjoyable, but it took me a while to get into. And this is about Alice that is trying to find her way home, and she ends up in a forest of rooms, and she finds a boy there that she is supposed not to forget, but she forgets. And a lot of stuff happens all the way. There was a farm with a cruel farmer, and animals are getting abused there. It was very weird. I think it was very, very weird. Then I also continued with the Vampire Knitting Club books for the Stage Witch audio book club that you can, freely join on YouTube if you would like to. And this time around we read book 2 and 3, which is Stitches and Witches, as well as Crocheting Cauldrons, both by Nancy Warren. Stitches and Witches was fine to me. These are murder mystery books. And the second book is about a murder mystery in the tea shop next to it. So I was missing some of those very cozy, cute knitting with vampire moments, if that makes sense, because it was a lot about the tea shop, which is a lovely tea shop. And then the third book has a whole Egyptian thing going on with a magic mirror and a curse. But that took place more so back in the knitting shop again. So I enjoyed that one more. I gave Stitches and Witches 3 stars and Crocheting Cauldrons 4 stars again. There is a bit of crochet in that one, which I enjoyed. I appreciate it. That is not just knitting, but it wasn't a lot of crochet, to be honest. Then I did try a new series, or a new to me series by Nancy Warren. She also has the Great Witches Baking Show series. And I started that, but I only gave it 2 stars. I don't know. I was not feeling the cozy vibes, which is weird. Because this series is set, again, around murder mysteries, but this time in a baking show, in a baking competition with witches. I love witches and I love baking. So I expected a lot of cozy vibes, but I think it's the competition that makes it feel less cozy and wholesome. So I didn't really enjoy that one as much. So I don't think I will continue that series. It was a bit of a letdown. I might try it later again, but not anytime soon. I am more inclined now to try the Vampire Book Club series by her. But yeah, somebody dies on the baking show while they're still filming. So that is a bit problematic for them. And then they all have to stay longer and try and figure out what's going on. But that were all the books I have finished in December. Let me know what your favorite December book was. If you read any of these and you enjoyed them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe if you want to see more chaos from me. And I will see you in the next one.